you fancy fish and chips for lunch? Hi, welcome to another video. We're here today on the northeast coast up by Tynemouth in North Shields. Got the Challenge XT 12-foot surf kit with us. We are gonna head along this pier and try and see what we can catch on this cold and blustery December day. Let's get going before high tide pushes us off. So I've just threaded up the rod. This reel comes loaded with 25-pound mainline. If I was fishing like a calm estuary or maybe like a slightly less manic bit of water, I could probably get away with that all the way through to like a 4-ounce lead. But when I'm fishing quite a rough mark like this one, I've put on a shock leader. So this is 60-pound. Generally, you want to fish a shock leader should be 10 pounds of line for every 1 ounce of lead that you're fishing with, so a 6-ounce lead would be a 60-pound leader. I've just tied that on with a double uni knot, and then just one of the pre-tied rigs comes in the tackle box. It's a 2-hook rig. That just gives you the option to be able to fish different baits. So just taking that out of the packet, got a little link at the top there to hook it up to so that you get a bit more of a streamlined presentation on the cast. So bait wise, very difficult to come by. Black lug. If you can find it, it's definitely worth the money. It's so much better than a lot of other baits in terms of the attractants that it releases in the water from its juices. Highly recommend that. Got razor clams. I was fishing just yesterday and the cod that I caught were coughing these up whole. So yeah, definitely thought they were worth bringing. Got some squid. I wouldn't fish any cod mark without squid. So, you know, I'll put a whole one of them on and then stuff it with some mackerel or some ragworm or lugworm. Nice to see that the bag's leaking inside my tackle box. Brilliant. I got some bluey, just super stinky mackerel really. So I'll just chop one of them in half and then I'll bind it on with some cotton and probably slip it inside a cod tube. So I've got that. I've got one big bluey in there if I want to fish a bigger fish bait. And then in here, the newspaper will tell you what you need to know. Oh, and that is good old lugworm. They'll be perfect for any flatties around or tipping off a big fish bait. So we'll just probably fish them first actually. We'll just see how we get on. And that's my bait choices. So I'll put a little worm bait on one of the hooks. I'll put a fish bait with some squid on another hook. Get it out of the water. Fingers crossed. Right, so we've been fishing about 20 minutes in this one spot and it's so wild here. It's really difficult to keep the lead on the spot. I know it's supposed to move around a little bit, but it's rolling into this huge kelp forest in front of us. It's just going to lead to big tackle losses, impossibility of landing a fish if we do hook one. So we're going to push around back into the Tyne estuary behind this sea wall. The water's a bit calmer, and we're going to be able to fish over a bit cleaner ground and fingers crossed still catch some good fish. I've seen some almost double figure cod come out of the estuary only this week, so we'll get over there and see how we get on. just caught the tide at slack tide, so we'll have a little bit of still water for a bit, and I think that will give us a bit of time to get organised, fish effectively, and then the tide is going to swing round, and then we'll fish that first sort of 2 hours of the flood, and hopefully, you know, those fish are going to push in on that tide looking for food as the tide's coming in, because obviously that will start to then cover the rocks and the seaweed and the kelp that's been exposed, and hopefully they can ambush some of their prey really quickly as they're coming in on that tide. So a couple of like quick pointers fishing on the sea, especially if you're a novice or you know, it's your first few times going. Always know what your tides are doing. You know, keep an eye on the tide times. Make sure that you know sort of the prevailing wind. That can make your session really comfortable if you've chosen the correct mark. You know, you should always make sure that you can try and go with another person if you can. 2 people fishing off the rocks at sea is always recommended. Make sure that where you're fishing doesn't get cut off either by the tide. So that means that the tide will come in behind you at a lower point than what you're standing at. And if you get too distracted by catching too many fish, you can turn around and realise that actually the sea's coming behind you and you're stuck out on the mark that you're on. So always be really observant of the rocks around you and where the tide's going to go when it starts coming in. You know, it's always fun and really adventurous to go out onto the furthest rock you can to be able to get your bait further out, but you know, safety first. Make sure you take a fully charged phone, tell someone where you're going, and always try and fish in pairs. Today I'm fishing alone, but the cameraman's here, so. So we've come out for another morning, but we had a huge storm yesterday night, which made me really think that the cod would definitely be on the munch today. So we've come out to a pier up in Blythe that's renowned for being a top cod spot, and I know the fish are already feeding. You know, there's a few guys below us, they've caught fish this morning already. So, you know, we're out here obviously trying to fulfill the challenge I've been set, which is to catch a reasonable sized fish on one of the Challenge XT surf rods. The challenge has actually been finding some of the fish, not catching a fish. But we've turned up today, we've had one within a few minutes of getting here, only a small one, codling about £2, but I've just missed another bite, and yeah, things are looking good. Fish still on.
Oh great, okay.
I don't think it's very big, but I think it's what we're after.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Go. So, challenge complete. We've managed to catch some cod on the Challenge XT surf kit. Perfect for this sort of fishing. Here, 40, 50, 60 yard casts. Thanks for watching, and yeah, take the challenge.